Welcome back, everybody. Has your radiator sprung a leak? If so, then stay tuned because today we're going to be replacing the radiator in my 2001 Toyota Corolla. Alright, so what I have here is a brand new radiator. Also, since all this is taken apart, I'm going to go ahead and do some preventative work as well. Those are brand new upper and lower radiator hoses and a new radiator cap. These are all Toyota factory parts except for the radiator cap because for whatever reason they didn't include a cap with the new radiator. So I just quickly went to AutoZone and got a cap. And of course, the coolant. And in case you're wondering, no, I am not thirsty. This is the kind of coolant where you have to mix the water. And with this project, it's important that you use distilled water only. You don't want any minerals or any additives in your cooling system. So the first thing we're going to do is disconnect the negative battery terminal. Then you'll throw a drip pan under the car. Then you want to drain out all the old coolant. You just pull out this tab right here and out it comes. Then remove the radiator cap so it comes out faster. Alright, and then once all the old coolant is out, this would be a good time to take a look at it. If it's been a while since you've done a flush, this would be a good time to do so. I'm going to go ahead and do it because this car actually takes red coolant and the coolant in here is green. Why that is, I really don't know. So I'm going to go ahead and flush out all the old coolant, replace it with brand new red coolant, and then we'll go ahead and replace our radiator. Alright, so to flush, you'll first want to get yourself one of these no-spill funnels. I got this one at Napa for about $23. It comes with several different connections to fit your specific car. I'll go ahead and leave the link to one in the description. And then just pour in your water. Then start your car. Turn the heater on full blast. And here we go. The water in here is already pink, so I'll just get back under the car, drain all this water out, and you might have to repeat this 2 or 3 times to really get it clean. And then also when you do this, keep an eye on your temperature gauge. Make sure it doesn't start to creep toward the H. And keep an eye on your heater. If it's on full blast and it's blowing out cool, that means there's air in the system. Alright, so the cooling system of this car has been flushed. After 4 goes, this is what came out, all water. Now we are ready to finish what we started. So we'll go ahead and disconnect the negative battery terminal. Move that out of the way. And now we're ready to disconnect the cooling fans, the upper radiator hose, and the hose going to the overflow tank. So we'll go ahead and grab a pair of needle nose. Push them back a little. And there we go. And then grab this clamp, push it back a little, and then just kind of move the hose like this to break the seal. And off it comes. Then the cooling fans, which are connected right here. There we go. That's everything on the top. Now we got to come under the car, and this right here, the lower radiator hose, we got to remove that as well. Grab a pair of needle nose and just kind of push the clamp back a little. There we go. And then same thing as with the top, just kind of shake it up a little bit. We'll move it around a little bit to break the seal and pop it off. But with this one, you want to be careful, because when you remove the lower radiator hose, some water will come out. So you got to get a drip bucket ready. And what some guys will actually do is loosen it up or remove it just enough to where the water will drain out. But as you can see, that ship has kind of sailed for me. Anyways, as I was saying, what some guys will do is loosen it up just enough to where most of the water will come out. Then they'll remove the radiator hose, and then, yeah, basically like that. Oh yeah, and then one more thing I forgot to mention. If your car is an automatic, the radiator also cools your transmission fluid, so you'll have transmission lines you'll have to disconnect. My car is a 5-speed, so I didn't have to worry about that. Then we'll come back up to the top, and with a 12mm bolt for this car, we'll go ahead and loosen up the clamps that hold the radiator in place. There we go. And then out comes the old radiator. All right, now that the radiator is out, we're going to remove both the upper and the lower radiator hose, and the other end is clamped in for the upper radiator hose. The other end is clamped in right back over here in kind of a fun area to get to. And for the lower end, it's right down here and a lot easier to get to. So let's go ahead and do this. All right, so after much trying, I finally got this hose disconnected. But this is the part where I'd love nothing more than to slap car engineers. Why do I need to remove the whole air intake just to disconnect a radiator hose? In the name of keeping the videos friendly for everybody, also because I'm in a neighborhood right now, I'm really trying hard to keep my language clean, but make no mistake, that's what you get when you have engineers designing cars who are never going to work on them when they get older. So, upper radiator hose. And now the lower radiator hose, which is in a much better area. There we go. All right, so here we go. I have the new upper and lower radiator hose in the car. I went ahead and broke down and got some new clamps just because these are definitely a lot easier than those old pinch clamps the car came with. And now we're ready to move all the stuff from the old radiator over to the new one. We have to move the cooling fan over. And then we have to move these little stems over, if that's what you want to call them. These are what basically hold the radiator up in the car. And now this new radiator is ready to go in the car. And this would be the part where you take what's left in your overflow tank and dump it out, but there is nothing in here. I'm going to have to keep more of an eye on my cooling system. Now we're ready to put everything back into place. The clamps, and it's important to remember these clamps are 12mm bolts, not 10. There we go. There we go. Then we'll go ahead and put this hose back in the overflow tank. Hook that up. Then plug the cooling fans in. Put this upper hose back on. Remember to clamp it down, which then get back under the car, reconnect the lower radiator hose, and if your car is an automatic, reconnect your transmission lines and replace any lost transmission fluid if your car is an automatic. And now we're ready for some coolant. So we'll just go ahead and remove this tape. And just make sure you have your no spill funnel and just start pouring it in. Now this obviously isn't going to fill the whole system, so I'm just going to pour this in, and then I will show you guys how to mix this up. And a little bit spilled out. Alright, so to mix your coolant with water, what I do is I take the bottle of coolant, and then pour half of it, if that will stay. Pour half of it into an empty gallon jug. Right. So that's your coolant. Next, grab some distilled water and top it off. All right, and now let's go ahead and finish the car. All right, so that looks pretty full, so I don't really want to add any more to it for now. I'm going to go ahead and top off my overflow tank. Then just start it up and make sure you don't have any leaks. And the good news is, so far the car is running great. Heater's blowing nice and hot, and so far it's not overheating. Bad news is I can't really properly bleed my cooling system because this no-spill funnel with the new radiator, when I attach it, when I go to put coolant in, it just seeps out. So if I had anything going on with my cooling system right now, this thing would be pretty much useless. I guess you win some, you lose some. And then all the remaining coolant, if you have any small children or friends with fur, keep it somewhere safe, because not only is this stuff poisonous, but it also tastes sweet. And you gotta admit, to someone who doesn't know any better, this does look like it would make a pretty good drink, especially when it's technically in a food bottle. Then just take it on a quick drive to see how everything does. Yes, unfortunately the heater does need to be on full blast. And then keep an eye on your temp gauge to make sure you don't start overheating. And we are just golden. Now I can put some nice cold air on. And back home I go. This definitely killed an afternoon. And don't forget, new videos every Sunday. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done so already. Also, make sure you hit that bell so you never miss a video. And I will see you guys next week.